Alrighty, folks, we are finally back after a week-long hiatus. You know what that means is that we just have an extra special episode in store for all of you tonight. Welcome in to another episode of the Gem City Sports Podcast, brought to you, of course, by our friends at Rebich Investments, keeping financial guidance simple. If you want more info, head over to the website, www.rebichinvestments.com, or you can simply call at any time during normal business hours, 814-734-3433, 814-734-3433. When we take a week off, we feel guilty, but that means that we just have to plan an extra special episode the following week. And tonight, we not only have a full house, we have a new team member on hand tonight. So much going on, so much to get into, and a little bit of fun, too, with the news that came out from the Erie SeaWolves just a short while ago. Nick Artman and, yes, Paul Adamczak are both in the house tonight. Gentlemen, it is great to see you both. Oh, boy, what a show we have for you.
Good to be seen. Good to be seen. Like you said, that week off, it was hurtful, you know, but we needed the break. We needed the time off, spend some time with our families, have some rest and relaxation. But it worked because we got Paul for a Wednesday show.
I was going to say, I've been off for a little bit more than a week on this show, so I'm rested and ready to go.
I think Paul didn't realize that the open invitation was always with standing, so we had to make sure to remind him of that.
Well, he was
first
grinding.
week after track season, and I'm back, baby.
There we go, exactly.
You know, and I have to give Paul credence and props because this man, the day after track season, was scouting the next generation of great runners and throwers and athletes.
Listen, I was
Gotta
trying
get
to
ahead, man.
Exactly. I was trying to slime $20 to recruit my daughter. No, that was fun. It was good to hang out. Yeah, we get to hang out at a K-5 track meet. That was our sports event this week. Forget playoff baseball.
Yeah. Who needs playoff baseball and softball and SeaWolves and all that fun stuff? No, that's where it matters. No, speaking of that, we got a lot to get in tonight. We're talking playoff baseball, softball for high school in just a little bit. I'll tell you what, some of these semifinal brackets that we're going to see tomorrow and Friday are insane with the number of talented teams. There are going to be plenty of teams on both the baseball and softball side that are worthy of the state competition that will not make it in because of how good these brackets are. We're also going to, in a minute, talk SeaWolves because we've got so much going on with them, whether it's on or off the diamond. But first, if you missed it on social media, We're more than thrilled to add a new member to our team. Earlier today, we welcomed in Hallie Parker, our new digital content production intern from Slippery Rock University. Her name might sound familiar because she also went to McDowell, because she's a local product, and we are so happy to have her on our team. And why would I put the graphic up when we could just put her on the screen? Hallie, it is great to see you. Welcome to the team, and my goodness, what an episode for you to start with here. But we're thrilled to have you, and if you would just give us a bit about you and what this area means to you and what you've been able to do here in your time at Slippery Rock and, of course, McDowell before that.
Sure. My name is Hallie Parker. Thank you so much for having me. I am pumped. This is awesome. So I graduated from McDowell in 2020. I grew up with the good old Prep McDowell rivalry going on. And I mean, that's what I think of when I think of Erie sports. I think the community is amazing, and I was part of the marching band for all 4 years in college as well. So those were my expertise in sports areas, but I love the community and the family it means, both as a spectator and as an athlete as well. So I'm really, really excited to be here, excited to chat more about Erie sports. Yeah.
No, it's an exciting time to have you too, Hallie. I mean, got a chance to see your portfolio and know the body of work and what you're able to bring to the team. And, we just launched our new branding a couple weeks ago, and now we're bringing on an intern. We got some exciting things planned this summer, and we're lucky to have you. So thank you for joining us as well.
Thank you.
And Hallie gets to be the role of judge in a few minutes. We're going to explain that in a couple of minutes, too. She gets to be the one making decisions around here right out of the get-go. We're excited about that. So we'll be bringing in Hallie more as we roll along through our shows, and happy to have her throughout the summer. Speaking of summer, the boys of summer have been playing extremely well. What else is new? Back-to-back Eastern League championships. They're atop the Eastern League Southwest Division. They have scored more runs in the Eastern League than any team by a wide margin, and this man is one of a pair that gets a chance to call every single game. Sam Lebowitz joining us on what has been a very, very busy week. Broadcaster for the Erie SeaWolves, or Sam, should I say, the Erie TBAs, as in to be announced.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's been pretty hectic last couple of days. Although maybe not as hectic as you might expect, because we're still waiting on a lot of details with that whole situation. But baseball's been great, and hopefully we have some fun things to share pretty shortly.
All right, so let's get into what we know and what we don't. Obviously, we heard the news yesterday that the SeaWolves were selected out of a bevy of teams by late-night show host John Oliver for a potential logo, name, branding redesign. You tell me about it. But I think in reading some of the stories, there is a little bit of confusion as to what is happening, what is not happening, how long is this timeline. Take us through what you know right now, and kind of for those who haven't been brought up to speed on this, the process behind where we're at and what could be happening.
So right off the bat, and I don't want to disappoint you guys, I know very little.
Well, you're in the same boat as us. That's okay.
We all know very little in the organization right now. In fact, I'll tell the story as we get deeper onto the pod here today. I was the first person in the organization to find out, because someone messaged me when he dropped it live on the show. He had not reached out to the club before dropping that news. This was a complete surprise to us. It wasn't a complete surprise to us insofar as like we had actually reached out to him. We were one of the 47 teams that had reached out to John Oliver and said, hey, you should consider us, and here's why. And team president Greg Coleman, with his enterprising marketing mind, he's always got the wheels spinning. He sees this. He's a John Oliver fan. He watches the show with his family. And so now a little more than 2 weeks ago from this past Sunday, he saw this segment that John Oliver does on minor league baseball that first caught the national attention, saying minor league baseball is silly. There are a lot of goofy team names here, and a lot of teams that maybe are in need of an inch or two of help on the marketing side. And on our dime, on our HBO dime, we're willing to foot the bill and design a new alternate identity for you guys. Now, like you said, there's been a little confusion about what this all entails. We are under the impression that this is a theme night, that this is not a full-scale 100% start from scratch rebrand, We are under the impression that this is a theme night. So any fans that are concerned that the SeaWolves are no longer going to be a thing in Erie and that we're going to be something else entirely, doesn't appear to be the case. But again, we know very, very little. There's been very, very little official communication, and none that I've been on personally. I think that should change as we get closer to a final reveal or a final date of when this is going to happen. But in the meantime, for the moment, we're very, very excited. We can't wait to see what he comes up with. But we are only about 5% less in the dark than the general public, I would say.
Well, and that's good. That makes us feel a little bit better, because I think no matter what articles you read or some of the things that come out, it seems like everyone is kind of confused about this, and I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. You mentioned you're not really sure of the timeline, but you put out, I thought what was interesting on social media, you put out a poll of, what should we do? Should we take John Oliver up on his offer? Should we decide to just keep things as they are, whatnot? What has been the reaction? And obviously, if this is not a full logo rebrand, it's different than a theme night, of course. But what's been the general reaction just in the first 24 or 48 hours since this has come out? Because it seems like there is a lot of, I would say, public reaction to this, and it's something different, like you said. We don't normally see a lot of national attention on minor league baseball, but it seems like you're getting a lot of reaction and attention both internally and externally in the organization.
Yeah, there has been a large reaction. I would say that it's 95.5 positive. Most people are really, really excited for the city and for the community. And the other people that aren't, I think a primary question that they have is, well, what does this mean for our community? What does this mean for the SeaWolves, this team that I love and go to games and grew up watching, perhaps, if they've been around since 1995 over the last 30 years? I think that the majority of negative comments, when there have been negative comments, are just a very, very vocal minority, but it's been overwhelmingly positive. I've had people reach out to me that are not baseball fans and saying, this is the team you work for, right? Because I'm not from the original. I've got people all over, but people have reached out to me and said, that's your team. Are you meeting John Oliver? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe, possibly, it'd be really cool to do that. I don't know if I'm going to be on the show. We have no idea, and certainly we're not really prepared to announce any news publicly, anything we do know, but we are anticipating getting more information in the coming weeks. And I really don't know what the timeline looks like here. Everything that takes place under this is going to be approved by Major League Baseball. They kind of have final say in any theme nights and designs and any timelines that take place, whether this is a next season thing or this season thing. And it remains to be seen on what the case is there. But very, very exciting. Very, very exciting. This is a cool thing to happen to us. Greg Coleman, when he reached out to John Oliver, said kind of against Major League Baseball's wishes. They had reached out to clubs and said, we know what happened on the show. We know that there's maybe a want to reach out on your own independently to try to take advantage of this. We're going to suss this out and figure out what the deal is here. Don't reach out. Apparently 47 teams didn't listen to Major League Baseball. We were one of them. That was Greg Coleman saying, well, we're kind of a silly franchise in a lot of ways. And he wrote together a list of 11 reasons why we should be selected. And I guess that put us over the top. Now, the story of how I found out was it was about 11:45 on Sunday night. We were still about an hour and a half from getting back to the ballpark from Richmond, Virginia. I was on the bus with the team. Dead silent, quiet. Guys are asleep on the bus. And I get a message from someone who was watching the show and sends me a screenshot of a Blue Sky post from someone who had initially, I guess, screen recorded it with a post that said something to the effect of 47 teams had reached out to John Oliver, and the team that he selected was the Erie SeaWolves, the AA affiliate of the Detroit Tigers. He said, I think you should see this. You know what this is about. And I go, no, what? Because I'm in a daze right now. I've also been kind of in and out of a sleep, as you are on the bus on a 7-8 hour bus ride back from Richmond, Virginia, as you would be. I had to pause my audiobook because I'm like, I need to figure this out. I need to figure out what's happening.
Is this real life? What is going on?
Exactly. And I send the screenshot to my broadcast partner, Greg Gagne, and the rest of our media relations team, Jason Doherty, who is our director of entertainment, Lena Bannock, our director of fan engagement, because we have a little media team group chat, and I'm like, did they reach out to us about this? Like, do we know that this is happening? They had not. It was sent along from Greg Gagne to Greg Coleman, then the team president, who's kind of behind the whole thing, and he had not been aware. Now, what I've come to learn is that the Coleman family will watch the show as a family on the SeaWolves off days on Mondays, because the team is off every Monday. Now, they were not watching at this point because it was still Sunday night. So they did not know until I sent forward what I had seen, and Greg Coleman wakes up his daughter in the middle of the night to show her. Because it's like, okay, well, I guess we're watching now.
Yeah, get out of bed. Let's go.
Now. So that's how the SeaWolves found out that the SeaWolves had been picked by John Oliver for the minor league baseball rebrand situation.
So
I social media post that was sent to me by someone who is not affiliated with the SeaWolves.
So I think that's the long version of saying that Sam Lebowitz should also be named, in addition to broadcaster media relations coordinator, the team reporter, because you get the inside scoop that the majority of us do not.
What can I say? I'm locked in.
Party. you're locked in reading that audio. That audiobook had nothing on what your brain was processing at 11:45 on a Sunday night.
Yeah, the Hunger Games can wait. We need to figure this out real quick.
You got plenty of time. Well, let's talk about the actual team, because you got a team that's actually playing.
Wait, no, hang on.
All right.
I want to unpack this a little more because I got two quick comment and then a question.
Okay.
One is shout out to I lost it at iHeartFooty, because in that poll that you guys had put out there, the question, what should we name the team? They went out and put the Erie Pizza Bombers, and that's a little too soon. Okay, little too soon, Ian.
So I'd made that joke in the office, actually. So I want to take credit for that one first.
All right, sorry, Ian. We're taking that credit away. But no, I wondered if you could share, because Oliver mentioned that as well. The 11 nearly perfect reasons to choose Erie. Do you know any of them? Can you share any of them? I would love to know what was on that list.
Yeah, he had sent the email internally, and honestly, the first reason is the one that he cited on the show, is the fact that the SeaWolves do not play by the ocean. The SeaWolves play by a lake, not the sea, which is ridiculous in its own right. But oh man, yeah, he had sent the email along to staff because some staff had asked, but I honestly do not recall any of the other reasons. One of the reasons actually was that he thought John Oliver might find interesting was our promotion from a few years ago, from before my time with the team, that won minor league baseball promotion of the year, which was the alternate fax night. Which gained some national attention too. That was on the list as well, that we take some swings with promotions. And again, 11 reasons turned out to be enough reasons. I don't know what the other emails look like that teams had sent out to John Oliver, but I guess we were just too.
I think everybody sent out 10 reasons, and you guys sent 11. So they were like, "Oh yeah, these are the overachievers."
Overachievers,
right? This one goes to 11, so we're gonna take them.
I think if you combine alternative facts night with the cotton candy hot dog, that's an automatic winner, no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, there's no limit to what he could pick from here.
It can't possibly be better than Erie pepperoni balls, though, can it?
The pepperoni balls are pretty good.
That's top of the pile.
My gut tells me he's going to go something that's a little more comedy slanted. Take full advantage of this as a comedian and do something funny. I really do not have the slightest idea. None of us have the slightest idea what this is going to look like, and I'm really excited to find out.
No, man, a lot of fun.
This is awesome. Absolutely. Go ahead, Paulie.
I was just going to say, so you said 5% more than the public. So enlighten us on that 5%. That's what I'm trying to get to.
The 5% is that they've reached out to us and there's a contract situation happening. And
End of percent.
Okay. End of percent. Okay.
Pretty much.
The 5% is that he knew that it was happening live. That counts for more like 50%. Well, we can't wait.
I'm surprised they didn't reach out at all beforehand.
We were too.
Like, hey, we're going to say this tonight.
Yeah. We were too. But honestly,
whether it's not to you specifically, but to somebody in the organization.
Maybe reply to the 11 reasons email and say, hey, this is good enough for us. We're going to go with it. Honestly, if you think about it from the perspective of a comedy talk show, it's probably the funniest way they could have gone about it.
That's true.
Just not tell the club in question and let them find out on their own.
The reaction is hilarious.
Yeah, seriously.
We had people tweeting at us all night long, like, "Hey, at Erie SeaWolves, Erie_SeaWolves, you guys know that you got picked for last week tonight." The other funny part of this too is a couple of our interns were going around asking players during batting practice on Tuesday. Nobody knows who John Oliver is on the team. A couple of guys
They're too young.
They're like, I think he's a comedian. One guy knew he was British, but nobody had any real familiarity with the program. And so these players eventually are going to be presumably wearing jerseys branded by the John Oliver Late Night Talk Show and have no idea who he is.
So funny.
My wife said he's British. That's about all I know.
He is British. There were a lot of people who reached out to us and said, this is curious for us as fans because what does a British guy know about baseball? But the fact is, John Oliver, and this is a fact you can look up, he's done interviews talking about this very thing, is a baseball fan. Not just he doesn't just find minor league baseball.
Yeah.
No, it's not just a gimmick. He came over for his career to the States, for his career in the entertainment business, and fell in love with baseball and picked the Mets of all teams, which is a choice you can make, and many comedians have done that in the past too, because the Mets are the funniest baseball team. But yeah, he's a baseball fan. Like this is a legit interest for him, and I think his heart's in the right place with doing this for a minor league club.
Sam, aren't you a Mets fan?
Is it a good choice to make?
Okay. Just checking.
I'll
from experience. Listen, I got us off the rails. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to keep going back into
this. This is tremendous. We could talk about this for 45 minutes. And as we continue to talk about the SeaWolves, at the end of this segment, we are going to be presenting, Nick, Paul, and I, our ideas for a rebrand of the Erie SeaWolves. So Sam will get to laugh at us at how ridiculous our three ideas are, but that's coming up a little bit later.
Send us your comments, too. Like, comment on the stream. We got a bunch of people here hanging out with us tonight. Throw in some comments. Let us know what you would rename the team. It could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and make sure to be creative because that's what we're all about. By the way, so while they're still the SeaWolves, I guess, we should talk about the fact that the team is performing very well. You're still sitting in first place here, Sam. You just put up 18 runs in a Wednesday early day game today that got played even despite the rain. This offense is rolling, no question. You look at the runs scored in the league and you look at the big bats, whether it's the returning guys from last season or some of the guys that they've inserted into the lineup. Things seem to be rolling pretty well, Sam. I don't want to ask if you're surprised about how well the offense has been performing because I think that's pretty obvious, but take us through just the consistency that you have seen with how well this team has been hitting so far through 41 games.
Well, a couple of 18-run outbursts through the first 6 or 7 weeks is going to help the run differential for sure. Like today, they also had one in April in Chesapeake. But this club it's like you said, a mix of the veteran bats and the talented guys who are kind of new to the club. Today, it was a mix of both. It was Jake Holton, who's in parts of his fourth season with the SeaWolves, and is a known run producer for this team, and had 2 home runs in this game, including the go-ahead grand slam that turned the game around. SeaWolves scored 18 unanswered runs today. It was as impressive a win as I think you're going to find in minor league baseball this season, dropping 3-0 early. And they had gone 6 up and 6 down against the opposing starter before that third inning, and they just came out guns blazing in that third and scored 18 runs without allowing any more runs over the final 6 offensive innings of that game from the third through the bottom of the 8th inning. I mean, it was a really impressive win. If I'm surprised, again, like you said, it's not really a surprise. The offensive unit here is very, very talented. There are guys here who have performed at this level. It's not just Jake Holton. It's Trey Cruz is having a miraculous start to his season, a really charmed start to his year. He's been kind of the spark plug for the SeaWolves. And the ironic part is that Trey, who maybe has the best numbers of any SeaWolf so far through this season overall, he's the one guy in the lineup today who went hitless in an 18-run, 19-hit outburst. So it's Holden, it's Trey Cruz. A couple of guys that have been around have gotten off to slower starts, but had really great games today, and Chris Myers and Ben Malgiri, who both were a home run shy of the cycle. But the SeaWolves today, really, besides Holton, were powered by a couple of new faces, namely Max Anderson, who's riding a 13-game hitting streak. He's been the biggest pleasant surprise, I think, for the SeaWolves this year as compared to last. The SeaWolves had Max for about 2 weeks at the end of last year, and he struggled a little bit. He had an okay year overall, drove in some runs, mostly in high A, but The power wasn't really showing up. He had 11 home runs all year. He didn't hit one in Double-A. He's already got 7 home runs this year, including the one today, and he's second in the Eastern League in RBIs this year. He was tied for the league lead in hits entering play today too, and again 13 straight games with a hit. That's the believe the second or third longest streak in the Eastern League this season, and believe the second longest active hitting streak in the Eastern League so right now this season. So a guy who just has been going out there getting his hits every single day and has carried himself very, very well. The Tigers really are impressed by him because he's putting the ball in the air more. Last year he had a bit of a ground ball problem, and he got a little more athletic in the offseason, shed some pounds, and is really, really firing on all cylinders right now. So the offense in general firing on all cylinders. Most runs in the Eastern League, but they're gonna have the top slugging percentage in all of Double-A entering play tomorrow. They were a close second before the game today, and 18 runs, and I think 8 or 9 extra base hits will help the slugging percentage.
Well, and that's where I wanted to go, because you got 5 guys hitting over 500 in slugging percentage. I mean, it's not just a couple people. It's there's not really a hole in the lineup. Is this part of what Andrew Graham brought to the team this year? Is this the kind of identity that he wanted to build with this year's SeaWolves?
I don't think necessarily. I think that this goes to a greater point about the Tigers as an organization right now, top down, because you look throughout this organization and every level is performing well, down from Lakeland in low A to West Michigan in high A, the SeaWolves. And Triple-A Toledo got off to the slowest start in the organization this year, and they clawed back to the 500 mark today. They played very, very well over the last 3 or 4 weeks, helmed by Gabe Alvarez, who is a cult hero here in Erie. And then the big club at the top, the Tigers were the first team in Major League Baseball to 30 wins this year. I mean, everything is going well for the Tigers. I think organizationally, run differential, they have the top organizational run differential in all of baseball, minor leagues and major leagues combined, and the best winning percentage from all 4 full season levels plus the major league level combined. Everything is going really, really well for the Tigers. This is a farm system that was rated as the top farm system in all of baseball by MLB Pipeline coming into the season. And the most exciting part is, for the SeaWolves and for SeaWolves fans, the best parts of the system, the best pieces in the system, they haven't even made their way to Erie yet. There's a couple of studs in high A, like 2 or 3 guys who are really, really excellent hitting prospects, who, if they continue to perform adequately in West Michigan, could be SeaWolves by the middle of the year or by the end of the year. Namely, Max Clark is obviously the name people know, but Josue Briseño is another catching prospect. He had a home run today. And then Kevin McGonigal, who might be the best of the 3, is a guy who missed most of the first part of the season with injury, and he just got back. So that West Michigan team is going to be fun to watch until those guys wind up SeaWolves, and we're excited to potentially have them at some point in the future.
You know, now in year 3, Sam, for you and being a chance to be around this organization as they've been able to build themselves into these contenders, and to your point, you look at the Tigers now, it's mostly former SeaWolves and guys who have grown their way through the organization. That doesn't always happen with major league rosters. Can you just give us some insight, just from your perspective, on what the philosophy of the Tigers organization is now and has maybe been for the last 3, 4, 5 years that wasn't always the case, just from, you and Greg, of course, have conversations, but what is the philosophy now that is allowing each and every single team top down to have success, not just in Erie?
I think more than anything, it's a character thing. They preach character above pretty much anything else for these guys that, we talk about the guys who've been here before for multiple seasons, like Jake Holton and Trey Cruz. Holton had a huge day today. He's having a good power department season so far, like we're used to seeing with Jake, and Trey Cruz being the spark plug at the top. And another great example is Carlos Mendoza. Talk about spark plug. He was outstanding for the SeaWolves last year. He was outstanding at the beginning of this season. Promoted to Triple-A, was there for a couple of weeks, performed very, very well there. And then there was a roster crunch, and he winds up back in Erie as a guy who's kind of the odd man out. And nobody hangs their head the fact that they're still here in Erie. They know that things can change quickly. They perform well here. Perhaps they're performing well so that they can get traded for an opportunity elsewhere. Again, the Tigers are likely going to be buying at the trade deadline this year. They're going to have to sell off pieces from the minor leagues in order to make the major league club better at some point this year, assuming that they want to add pieces. So these guys are performing because they know that there's 29 other teams, not just their own club, that's watching them for a potential opportunity at the next level somewhere else. But they also get it. There's a lot of talent in this organization. And just because you're here in Erie, it doesn't mean that the Tigers don't think that you're ready to play in Triple-A. There just might not be at bats for you, like the case was with Mendoza, who got squeezed back to Erie. But there's no bitterness. These are all high character guys guys who enjoy playing for each other first and foremost. They want to go out there and play hard, and that's what they get to do. It's a very loose clubhouse. These guys are all pretty jovial as a bunch. They just like going out there and playing because, even if maybe Jake Holton decides he doesn't want to be in Erie for 4 years, guess what? That's where he is right now. So why not play well? That's the exact mentality that they have. They can't control where they're assigned. They can't control when they're promoted, but they can control what happens between the foul lines. And so they've got a good head on their shoulders. Every single guy in that clubhouse. There's been no problems in that clubhouse this year. And again, like I said with the Tigers, they're preaching character above all. The rest will fall into place. Chemistry is an important thing in baseball. We see that time in, time out. And if you put good personalities, you put good people in that clubhouse, and the talent should follow.
Gents, anything for Sam before we let him go? It's been he's spent way too much time than he would have probably even have preferred to have had here talking about all kinds of crazy stuff.
I do gotta, my Knicks have started, so I gotta get to that at some point.
Oh, geez, I forgot
baby.
they're playing tonight. Hopefully they fare
Please
better
beat the
than the team
Pacers.
that we talked
I
about.
would like them to beat the Pacers very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same.
Well, go enjoy it, Sam. It's great to talk to you. Appreciate everything, and let us know when you find out the 10% threshold is supposed to fall.
Yes, for sure. Hopefully there's more information relatively soon. Remains to be seen exactly when, but hopefully soon. Guys, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure, and I'm excited to see what potential names you guys come up with and what potential designs you guys came up with. And just remember, the more designs that you come up with, just in case you hit it nail on the head, you can say John Oliver might listen to my podcast.
We hit it first,
listen,
right?
I'll tell you why. We hope you're as excited after we show the logos because AI can only go so far. All right, great stuff, Sam. Appreciate you again.
See you, brother.
For joining
Thank you,
us,
Sam.
Sam Lebowitz of the Erie SeaWolves. He is everything, including the new team reporter, apparently, because he finds out things even when not everybody else does. So it's great to have him on. And I'll tell you what, even if it's not, I don't know if it's a full logo redesign or not, but I do think in Greg Coleman's eyes, it is a genius marketing strategy. It's hard as a minor league baseball organization, for any minor league baseball organization, to quite frankly stay relevant, right? I mean, we see it so often now that we just saw recently there was a big cut of minor league baseball organizations who weren't allowed to play anymore and because of financial issues. This is a way to stay relevant, and, you laugh at that maybe with saying, well, the SeaWolves have won back-to-back titles. You got to find a way to stay consistent. So big credit to Greg Coleman and company for putting this idea out there, and if nothing else, you got a lot of people who stay up till midnight that know the Erie SeaWolves now.
Absolutely. Isn't that awesome that something like that would happen to Erie? That's great.
Well, I mean, you're putting them on a national level, right? Like, I mean, the team exposure, even if it's for one night, is huge, right? So, I mean, and not to mention you're affiliated with one of the best teams in baseball right now, so there's a lot of positives that come out of this. I think it's going to be an absolute blast. And I'm excited. I think it's going to be, it's HBO money, guys. Let's be honest. I think it's going to be a full out rebrand. I think they're going to do uniforms. I think they're going to do logos. I think they're going to do giveaways. For HBO and John Oliver, they want to make this as big as they can too, so that their stuff gets shared all over the place. So, I agree. I think it'll just be more of like a night, but I think it's going to be huge.
It's The Sopranos, it's The Wire, and it's the Erie SeaWolves.
I do think, though, to make it more intriguing, if they say let's do this every year, I think what they need to do is before they decide on the team that they're picking, they need to have someone go and install hidden cameras around the office. Could you imagine just a hidden camera in the top of the bus with all the players sleeping, and all you see is a zoomed-in angle of Sam Lebowitz with his audiobook, and he jolts up and realizes something crazy just happened.
It's like a bad version of Hard Knocks. Another HBO shout out there for
Hard Knocks, MILB edition.
Not so Hard Knocks.
Well, we talked about this even on Flagship on Monday. Like the MILB does have some great team names, so I'm excited to see what you guys came up with.
They do. One of my favorite, Rocket City Trash Pandas. There are so many others that you can consider.
Pandas.
So to Nick's
Flying
point,
Squirrels. Yeah.
In Richmond, there are so many great ones. So to Nick's point tonight, we thought it would be a fun exercise if the three of us, the three stooges that we are, would come up with a name, logo, and mascot redesign for the Erie SeaWolves. Because I think this is a fun exercise. We all have dreams and aspirations of being if sports fans, of being invested in a team, and how cool would it be to get to start a team on your own. So we actually have logos and we have names and we have all the fun gambit, and we get to start this off with Nick Artman, because Nick was the most prepared out of the three of us. He was ready to go 4 hours ago. I gave these guys the task 6 hours ago. So Nick, go ahead, give us a bit of a description, and then you can reveal your logo to us.
Let me set this up, okay? And this one, I admit, is a little on the nose, but I think it makes so much sense for what Erie represents. And that Erie has that, and I noticed this when I moved here in 2013, you see Don't Give Up the Ship everywhere. You see the flagship Niagara. And I think that the team needs a new identity that really honors that rich maritime heritage while also kind of rebranding to the new. So I bring to you the Erie Commodores baseball team, okay? Now, the Erie Commodores will pay homage to Commodore Oliver Hazard Perry, as everybody likes to tout that is Erie's maybe biggest figure, literally all over the place, but also because of Erie's historic role in the War of 1812, right? This kind of ties that local pride that Erie has. It's one of the first things I noticed that when I moved here. It's like a little brother syndrome, right? Like, I can make fun of my hometown, but you better not, because we're going to fight. So I think this kind of brings back, it gives that leadership, that grit, that tradition that Erie likes to bring. And then also you see there that's the new mascot there on the right-hand side there. We're going to call him Hazard. He's going to bring some character, some charisma, some unique fan experiences. You know, I mean, I just imagine taking that bat and selling that bat everywhere. Greg Coleman will make a ton off of that bat. And then it's not just a name change. It's a celebration of Erie's identity wrapped in, of course, a marketable brand that stands out. And it's, you know, it sticks. It makes sense. The Commodores aren't ready to lead. They're ready to win.
I like it. I will say that the NTSL team in our area is going to have something to say about that, given the fact that they are the Commodores. But I will say is that collaboration is not a bad thing. You could have two different logos, you know, whatever you want to call it. I think that you have a very good thought process, and I do like the color scheme as well. I like the navy blue with the gold.
Yes.
I think Hazard would be a good mascot too. I think he could get away with some shenanigans as Hazard just by your name.
100%. I mean, look at this guy. This guy's ready to cause some shenanigans in the park, right? And I think it's a whole nautical theme, right? You have like the foghorns going off when there's a home run. I want a giant, like, a la Tampa Bay Bucks pirate ship in the end of, you know, in center field out there ready to go. Yeah. So, you know, you could do so many different things with that Commodore name, the maritime theme, and you can still bring in a little bit of that pirate theme there as well too.
I think if I were to change one thing, instead of having a generic baseball bat, you should have a cannon themed baseball bat.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Like the pencil.
Yeah. Something that would just kind of spruce it up a bit. But I love it.
I'll rewrite my AI prompt.
Okay.
I don't hate the mascot. I keep looking at him thinking that's Ulysses S. Grant. Am I the only one who?
That's fair.
Maybe redesign the face to look a bit more like Oliver Hazard
just a
Perry.
little bit. Yeah. I think that's it. I love the mustache, maybe not the beard.
I also think it's appropriate that John Oliver would include his name likeness in a new logo and brand redesign. I think that's a really smart idea. So
I'm here for you.
All right, Nick, strong start. The Erie Commodores with Hazard as the mascot, which might be the best mascot of the day. Now, Paul, you also put some great time and effort into this, and I will let you set this up, and we will reveal the logo because Paul has what I think is a pretty good one as well.
Well, thank you very much. I definitely didn't overachieve as much as Nick on this one. But I did come up with something that I thought was pretty good. I thought it was marketable. As a consumer of hats myself, I was like, I would buy that hat. So I came up with a hat logo. So I'm going to introduce your newest MILB squad, the Lake Erie Yetis. We're getting away from just Erie. It's the Lake Erie Yetis, because nothing says Lake Erie like a mythical snow beast in red, white, and blue, right? It's bold. It's bizarre. It's just a hat right now. So grab yours today and show your questionable region pride the Lake Erie Yetis, freezing out the competition one promotional stunt at a time.
Oh, I like that. I like the tagline.
You know what I think would be cool, like with this logo? I think if you're going to do a Yeti, which I love the idea, you need to have a giant inflatable blow-up Yeti right at the entrance of the park.
Okay,
so you just know right away, right out of the
just
gate,
put me in a
this
Yeti
is who
suit. I'll
we
walk
are.
around.
So that's exactly. So when I saw your mascot, Nick, I was like, oh man, the perfect Yeti mascot for this team. You know the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, like the claymation. You know the abominable snowman in that one.
Yeah,
I think just get like a bodysuit of that guy, and it again shenanigans, mayhem, hijinks, whatever you want to put it. I think that would be awesome. Rocking around red, white, and blue. The Erie abominable snowman was a little bit, too wordy.
It's a little.
So
it's a lot.
Yeti is great.
It doesn't come off the tongue for the kids.
Right. So
and you know what?
Erie Yeti, no good. But Lake Erie Yeti, much better.
I like Lake Erie Yeti.
I think what makes it even better is that this is a logo and a mascot that is akin to playoff baseball in Erie. You know that when you come to Erie and it's 40 degrees in the middle of September
Yes.
when it's
Seriously.
championship series time, good luck, my friend. You've got zero shot.
It was
Zero
50
shot.
today. It was 50 today when they scored 18
Yeah.
runs.
Doesn't
I
seem
love
to
the
make-
idea. I don't love the red, white, and blue. To America, for me, we need to have our own identity.
Okay. All right.
More of 1812, fighting for the American identity.
fair.
That's where it came from.
That's fair. That's fair. I'll walk that back. But I want that. I want that ice. I want that. That coldness feeling. But I see where you're going with the red, white, and blue.
You
You
try
sold
to
me
mix
with the
in
War
some
of
themes.
1812.
Thank you.
So I love it. Good stuff from Paul. So we've got the Lake Erie Yeti. We've got the Erie Commodores. And so I put way too much thought into this. So I'm going to round out with this. So I think Paul kind of touched on this a little bit, but I think when a lot of people look at a logo and name redesign, they think of the team name. My first thought was the city name. And I go back to my favorite team name in MILB, the Rocket City Trash Pandas. Even in the Eastern League this year, the former Bowie Bay Sox redesigned themselves to the Chesapeake Bay Sox. And I love the idea of having an alternate theme, not to your team name, but to your city name. I think it showcases who you are, it showcases what your best attributes are, and it gives you that extra kind of spunk that you need in the logo. So not only did I change the team name, I changed the name of the city too. Erie, goodbye. We all know what Erie is, and quite frankly, if you're coming to a game in Erie, you also know what Erie is too, because you put it on the map. So I'm going to go with the lake theme as well, to what Nick had talked about, but I think even more than a figure, I think of a protector. I think of a stalwart. I think of someone who's going to ride on that ship and captain the ship and defend the lake. I thought about like lake monsters, but I don't know if that does anything. But then I thought, you know
Cleveland
what?
team.
Hockey team, yep.
One of the things that the SeaWolves have been is they have been strong and they have been tough to get by. And so for me, I look at my logo redesign and my team name redesign as Ironclad. Presenting to you the flagship city Ironclads.
Oh.
A team that is going to be hard-nosed, nose to the grindstone. You can protect the lake. You can be aggressive with your steel making or whatever we do in Erie that is unlike any other city. If Pittsburgh is the steel capital of the world, well, darn it, we're going to be the industrial capital of the world, and we're going to put Pittsburgh to shame. I don't have a name for the mascot, but it could really be anything
Chug
from
Chug.
like a chug.
Tug, yeah.
Well, I was
Tug,
thinking
tug,
like
and chug,
GE,
chug.
the engineering, the train background.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. So the
better
logo
than
design
choo-choo.
there at the top is like a steamboat there. You got him with the baseball. I also think you could put like something with the lake or the Bicentennial Tower, because I'm a sucker for that. Hence our logo of Gem City Sports Podcast Network on his shirt. I just think that a total rebrand and redesign, you got to get flagship cities in there. I thought about Gem City.
I thought you were going to go Gem City.
That's what I did
When
too,
you were
yeah.
setting it up, I was like, oh, that makes
Yep.
sense.
So I actually had both Gem City Ironclads and Flagship City Ironclads, but I went with the flag theme with the whole ship thing. So so there you have it. Here are our three designs the Erie Commodores for Nick Artman, the Lake Erie Yeti for Paul Adamczyk, and I'm going with the Flagship City Ironclad. So we're going to bring back in Hallie, who gets to make the decision here. Hallie, which one of the three is the best? Who are you going with?
Now, Hallie, remember, I know who is grading your
Knew he was going to say
internship.
something.
Oh my gosh, I thought of that as well. No, I'm obsessed with the amount of thought you all put into this. And it's funny because I did the same thing before this.
Well, give
And
us
I
yours.
know that all of those. No, because you all took mine. I had
Oh,
Commodores.
yeah.
I was like, Commodores. I pulled it up on ChatGPT. It wasn't as thorough, wasn't as interesting. I thought maybe the Erie Hazards, because Oliver has for
Okay.
Perry
I
going
like
into
it.
that.
I like that one, too.
You could do like the hazard lights.
All over the stadium.
good.
I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But overall, they all very good. I liked the explanations. I feel like they would all be good choices in some other realms, but I am going to go with the Commodores.
Ha!
No surprise. No,
You
it was
know-
rigged from
you
the
know,
start.
we
Yeah,
should-
yeah.
we should- I was going to say, we
Okay.
should know.
You brought up
you
The
know-
Sopranos. I'm Italian for a reason, brother. Like
at
I
least,
came in
at
to
least
win.
Paul, at least
I've
Paul will
never
draw
seen
names
that.
from a
I've
hat to
never-
make it fair, where Nick
Yeah.
rigs the whole system.
No.
Well,
You
Well,
have
you
to
know-
decide.
yeah, Hallie, I will give you credit. I appreciate what you're doing. You're pandering to the audience, and I get it.
Hallie,
And
I'll ask you again after the semester's over. No problem. I got you.
Okay, that's fine.
Just know though, Nick. If you're gonna give her an A right now, she doesn't have to do anything else. So
Oh no, I'm not grading it. I'm not. Let me be clear. I'm not grading her internship, but I know who is grading her internship. So.
Well, all
Don't
I will
make a
say,
call.
Yeah.
all I will say is that just remember who also runs the show too.
Yep.
That's fair. That's fair.
Hey, Hallie, I really think next episode you need to actually have we would love to see your design, because I think out of the
100%.
four of us on this show, you are going to be the most creative, without a doubt.
Yeah. You can thank AI
Okay,
for ours.
all right, I'll take
Chat-
on that challenge.
Chat GPT for the win. All right, great stuff, Hallie, for helping us out here, and Nick for screw you for rigging the system. This is no fair.
I had nothing to do with that. I can't help it that you guys can't suffer through the taste of defeat. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
With the veiled threat. I'm not grading you, but
all right.
I know who is.
Hey, Paul, that Airbnb in Pittsburgh for the draft is only housing 2 people, right?
Yeah, so, bedrooms
all
are
right,
filling up fast.
All right. Well, when I get that media pass, you guys can sit outside.
Ooh, well, that's true. Nick, you're back in.
All right, I guess I'm gonna watch from home. I think now would be a good time to talk about Rebich Investments, because we don't keep things simple on this show, but they keep financial guidance simple. 814-734-3433 is the number to call. www.rebichinvestments.com is the website to go to if you want to keep financial guidance simple. We're just going to end quickly with a couple of big games coming up here in high school baseball and softball. I wanted to get into this a little bit more, but I think it might be a show that could be best reserved for next week, given the fact that we went about 3 hours on the SeaWolves stuff, which is exciting. And again, let us know in the comments what you would rebrand the team as. What would your logo look like? What would your team name look like? We want to know. We're going to put our logos out on social media after this, and you can vote on which one you think is the best one. But guys, as we get ready for the weekend, there are so many incredible games and so many incredible brackets in high school baseball. I want to go around and just touch on what you guys think might be the most intriguing bracket. It can be baseball or softball. I think when you look at this weekend, this has the potential to be one of the most intriguing weekends in District 10 semifinal history, given how many good teams there are, and more importantly, how many upsets we've already seen in some ways in the softball bracket. So, Paul, I'm going to start with you on this because I want, if you want to get this out of the way, because I know you're not a huge fan of talking baseball, softball all the time, which is okay. And you've also had a busy week too as the resident track coach here. Take me through. Is there a matchup that you are looking for, or a game you're looking for, or a bracket you're looking for that's going to be big this weekend?
Well, I appreciate that. I did try to do some homework before this. Talking to Nick on Monday, we had a good segment, and I did a little bit more before tonight. You've been talking up 2A, the baseball bracket. Absolutely insane. So I looked at it a little bit closer. 4 teams remaining. a combined 41-3 record in region play. That's incredible. We're talking about Thursday semifinals at Slippery Rock University. Must-watch action. Mercyhurst Prep versus Lakeview and Greenville versus Sagertown. We're talking about battle-tested teams. Anyone's game. Mercyhurst Prep and Lakeview. Mercyhurst Prep narrowly escaped Mapleville 7-6 in the quarterfinals. Lakeview is red hot right now, riding a 6-game win streak after a convincing 6-1 victory over Mercer the other night. The momentum there, I think, is undeniable. If I had to pick an upset, it might be Lakeview over Mercyhurst Prep right now. I don't know. I'm saying crazy stuff. I'm not your baseball guy. I'm just kind of following the momentum and how the playoffs work. The hot team tends to win at the end of the season.
You make a great point, Paul, about Lakeview Mercyhurst Prep. Remember, this is a Laker team that had completely whitewashed almost every team they had played in the last month. We had Randy Durkowski on the show a couple of weeks back, Nick, and we were talking to him about the offense and how great they were. And I think for Mercyhurst Prep, this is probably a good thing that they played a close game because they hadn't in quite some time. Lakeview's a stingy team. And if there's one thing that we know about Lakeview historically in the playoffs is they give teams a run for their money when they get a chance to be in. I'll tell you what, it is a damned shame that Greenville Sagertown has to be now because you're going to have one of these two teams that's going to miss the state playoffs, and it's awful. I don't think either of these two teams deserve to miss the state playoffs, and to your point, Paul, one of them is going to obviously have to. But you look at that region record, and I'll tell you what, we talk about depth in high school sports in a lot of them. Baseball this year, it is scary good. You got a lot of teams that are going to be really tough. I think really what it could come down to, too, is the pitching depth and which teams are able to throw their aces at this point or not, because some of these games are going to be just Donnie Brooks down the stretch.
I think the winner of 2A is going to come in this Mercyhurst Prep Lakeview game. I think it could be either one of these guys taking the championship game. Nothing against Greenville or Sagertown, but it's exactly what you just said. In the game against Maplewood on earlier this week, they had Hunter Cray pitch 6 innings, had a 2.8 ERA, and then they brought in Brady Rice. Brady Rice had a tough time, to try and close out the game, but they were still able to pull off the win. They're really close nail biter there at the end of the game. So I'm curious about who's going to start for Mercyhurst, whether you're going to, are you going to go ahead and go back to Hunter Cray? Are you going to let Brady Rice come in as the starter? He kind of was really kind of the number 2 in that rotation this year. But the point is you can start either one of them. Oh, and you still have Bryce Schuthis too. So I think the depth of Mercyhurst is going to carry them to the championship, but I do think the winner of 2A comes out of this bracket. Can I jump brackets? Let's go over to,
Absolutely.
I want to go to 4A. I'm really intrigued by 4A. And mostly because you have the top 4 seeds left, GM, Cathedral Prep, Harbor Creek, and Slippery Rock. I have no idea who is coming out of this game. And I think that's what makes it so exciting is that I can't look at this bracket and pick a team that I like. I mean, I like GM as the number 1 team, but Cathedral Prep is always dangerous. So I'm going to toss it to you guys because I'm most intrigued by 4A, but my gosh, I have no idea who's coming out in this one.
I'll tell you what, and I'll start with this, Paul. I think, and this as somebody who's a coach, and even though track works a little bit differently, it's really hard to beat a team 3 times. And that would be what General McLean would be having to do if they get to the finals. I think it is really hard for me, and this is coming from somebody who played on General McLean in high school and took on Harbor Creek in many great games. It's really hard to count out that baseball program in Eastern Erie County. Harbor Creek just somehow in playoffs, they find a way. And I know Ted DeSanti would probably say if he were sitting here right now, it has not been their best year. But when you have an opportunity for a third time to get to play a GM team who, granted, they're a year older than last year, but they're still young. And, I think Tom Payton believed that they were going to be good. Did he think they were going to be this good? I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. Harbor Creek, I think, at the end of the year really came on and started to find their own. They won 4 straight to end the year. They just beat Hickory in the first round. And the games against General McLean weren't all that crazy. 3-2 was the score back on May 7th. There was a 6-1 game they lost earlier in the year. I don't think when they were playing their best, that was in a stretch where they had lost, I believe, 3 of 4. But I'll tell you what, GM and Harbor Creek will be a really, really tough game, and I don't think Cathedral Prep has played their best baseball this year as well. So to your point, Nick, I would probably take GM and Prep to make it to the final, but it would not shock me if we see one or maybe two upsets in this bracket.
Yeah, I know you don't want to be a homer and talk up your General McLean Lancers Isaac, so I'll do it for you. There's a reason they're the number 1 seed. Harbor Creek, when you go into games like this, and you made a great point, and it's a compelling argument that you're not just playing the team that's in front of you. You're sort of playing an institutional power. You're playing ghosts. You've seen this team that's been good perennially, years, decades even.
Yeah.
But that said, if I'm a coach, I'm in the locker room before the game. I'm going, we don't have to worry about their greats. We're playing the team across from us, and we beat this team. And John McClain, I said it, they're the number 1 team for a reason. Think fundamentals in any sport, baseball, track, football, whatever we're talking, pitching and defense. And they've been rock solid in both all year long. Consistency is key. I talked about getting hot at the right time, but they've been hot all year long. I think if General McClain plays basically the way they've been playing all year long, I think they're a lock to make it to the finals.
I think too, when you look at the Prep Slippery Rock game really quickly, not to overlook this game, I feel like these two teams have matched up in the District 10 playoffs in the last 30 straight years. It just always seems to happen that way. So, again, I think Prep is the better team, but Slippery Rock has experience in this situation before. They're a feisty bunch. They have had to play that Mercer County gambit, and a lot of those teams this season have performed well. So it will be interesting. If you want some great baseball, on Friday, head to Mercyhurst. 2 and 4:30 are the game times. They play back-to-back, so they're going to all be around each other, which will be great. Hopefully the weather holds off. It'll be fun. I'm going to go to softball really quickly, and I think I want to talk about a story really quickly that people really haven't discussed. Certainly not us, and I don't think many others either. We talked so much about Michaela Presser-Palmer and Northwestern girls basketball. There is now a legitimate path for Northwestern softball to make the state playoffs. And that would be something really, really neat to see as a team that recently has not traditionally been a team to be able to get to that point. Good thing. The good thing for the 3A softball bracket, you get 2 teams out of it. So Northwestern, if they can make the final, they would end up making it automatically. Jamestown is a feisty bunch. They beat Corey 1-0. They have a stud pitcher who's going to be a great one in college, and I think that that's something that the Wildcats will have to be aware of. But Northwestern, after a great regular season, I know Cathedral Prep had a down year, but anytime you can beat Cathedral Prep in the District 10 playoffs, it's got to feel good, especially knowing what Scott Baldy has brought with that program and how good he's been able to bring it and the success that he's preached. Northwestern has a legitimate shot. I would keep an eye on that with tomorrow's semifinal, which is going to be at Slippery Rock at 6 o'clock. They got a long drive, maybe an unfair drive, I think, given that they're the better seed, but no one's the wiser on that. I don't think they're going to win the tournament because I don't think, quite frankly, anybody's going to hit Maddie Vogan and Sharon. But Even so, regardless of whether that happens or not, you get 2 teams in. And we saw last year in this bracket with Harbor Creek and Sharon that 2 teams who had the opportunity to go ended up meeting each other in the Western Final. So I would keep an eye on the 3A bracket. I also want to say, too, Harbor Creek and Fort LaBeouf, I think, are destined to make it in the 4A bracket. So I would not be surprised if that ends up being the case. Keep an eye. McDowell's game against Alderdice for softball is pushed to Thursday at 2 o'clock. I really wonder how far McDowell can go. I'm high on this Trojan team. I know Gabby DeLuca is the talk of the town, but I also think they have some other key pieces there in the middle of the lineup that can hit the softball. I think Gabby DeLuca can take this Trojan team a long way. I think I like their shot against Alderdice on Thursday, and I'm curious to see how they perform. So baseball's got a lot of great games, but I think softball has a lot of good stories too. And I think when you look for this weekend, to me, it's the Northwesterns, it's the 4A bracket in McDowell, in what I think is going to be a great weekend of baseball and softball. And it's really a shame that it's supposed to rain, because I think this could be an unbelievable semifinal weekend, which of course leads to District 10 Championship Monday, where you have the 4A through 1A baseball and softball championships.
Listen, you talk about Gabby DeLuca. Okay, they will go as far as that arm carries the team. She's thrown 191 strikeouts this year in 85.2 innings. That's insane.
Yeah,
so
she's good.
oh my gosh. Yeah, that's putting it nicely. She's good. No, I think that they have a great shot at states this year as long as that arm holds up.
Yeah, and again, all they got to do is get through the sub-regional, and they're in an opportunity to start competing for a state championship. 6A is a tough bracket, Paul, to get out of, but as we've seen and as we know, especially in high school softball, pitching can get you out of a lot of things.
I think she's one of the most dangerous players in the state of Pennsylvania, certainly in Class 6A. If she's on her game, McDowell beats Alderdice and they win the 6A title. She's got experience. Obviously, you see the stats. They'll need a few other bats to step up during the playoffs, but I still think they make a strong run. It's a team sport, but when you've got one of the best in the state doing it, hard to bet against.
Yeah, we talk about all pitching, whether we talk about Jamestown in the matchup against Northwestern, Maddie Vogan over on Sharon's side, and Gabby DeLuca. It's one of the great things about softball. You have no pitch count, so you can throw the same person over and over and over. If you have an ace, you're tough to beat. Yeah. And we have seen that over and over in softball this year. And she hits too.
She's batting .548. Come on
she's
now.
Great. Yeah.
Come on now.
It'd be great to get her on the show at some point, too. Maybe we can next week. But keep an eye out for all those games. We'll be recapping them on Monday. And who knows, maybe do an extravaganza show for baseball and softball championships Monday night. We'll see. But this has been a fun episode, gentlemen. I can tell you that I'm excited to see what our fan base thinks of our logos. We will be posting them tomorrow morning, in case you missed our episode.
People who don't have grades writing on it. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Let us know, just for the fun of it, give us your letter grade on Paul's and Nick's and my logos, and we'll see just how close the results are. But in all seriousness, give us your logo redesign. Have some fun with this. See what you would change the SeaWolves to. It's always a fun exercise, and great thanks to Sam Lebowitz for being on the show tonight, and for all of you who are part of us and our show every single week. Paul, it's great to see you as well. We're happy to have you on this Wednesday, and man, you keep producing content like you did tonight with the logo. You're going to be hosting this show in no time.
I appreciate it, man. I'll work on the lighting for next show, but I appreciate you having me on.
It's as long as you've got that TDP hat on, it's all good. I would love to see at some point down the road, I would love to see your hat collection. Maybe we can do an episode on the hat collection that you have, because I'm sure you've got a bevy of good ones.
Oh, that's not fair. That's not
fair. I was
going
to say.
He's got a print shop in the family.
I was going to say, man, it's too much. I got a whole room.
I love it. I love it. Well, our next show is going to be Flagship City Sports Talk Monday at 9 o'clock. Again, stay in touch with our social media. We're going to be giving you some updates as to what's coming down the pike. Of course, we're hoping to get out to see the SeaWolves a little bit here. And, of course, District 10 Championship Monday, Memorial Day, is coming your way on Monday. We're going to have a full recap and analysis of that throughout the week. Stay tuned. We've got a lot of fun things planned. So, for all of us here, for Sam Lebowitz, for our new team member, Hallie Parker, Paul Adamczyk, Nick Gartman, and myself. So glad you're with us on this Wednesday evening. It's not Thursday yet, but it will be soon. And we'll see you all next week for the show. Everybody take care.